All right, here is a new sponsored product from vevor.com. I'll put a link in the description along with a coupon code for I think 5% off. Anyway, let me get all this plastic off of it, and we'll look at it, see how it operates. I'll tell y'all, I don't know nothing about them. I've never used one, but well, I guess we're fixing to learn about them. There's a manual right there. Got a hose, probably a drain hose if I had to guess. A couple of little strainer thingamabobs. Here's the cord. Got a basket in it. I reckon that's all of it inside there. Yes, sir, I do believe this hose goes right here on this valve to drain it. That's pretty handy dandy there. Let's flip it around. All right, it is digital controls. We'll have to look at them in a minute, but I probably should read the instructions, so let me do that real quick. All right, this is a 30 liter. It works at 40 kilohertz. 600 watts is the power. The timer is 1 to 30 minutes. Heater 800 watts. But it does not say the temperature and what it goes up to. We'll figure that out here in a minute. I'm trying to figure out what these two little screens are for. Oh, this is, okay. This, you probably put itty bitty parts in here so you don't lose them. Yes, sir, that's probably what that's for. Okay. Then, I was wanting to see how much you fill it up. And it says fill it up to the mark. Well, I don't see a mark. So we're just going to fill it pretty much completely full. Well, probably to there. I'll show y'all here in just a minute. Basically, all you do is put your basket in there, put your parts in. Now, cleaning solution, I've never used one of these. So I did a little research on the YouTubes, and everybody said pine sol or gasoline, believe it or not. Well, I don't want to stink the basement up, stink the house up, so we're going to use pine sol right now. This is lemon scented, so yes, sir, it's going to smell very pretty. I don't like the smell of pine sol, but that smells, yeah, that smells all right. So I think what we'll do, we'll just go ahead and, I got 3 bottles. We will fill it up with these 3 bottles. And I think I'll do the rest in water. So let me do that real quick. All right, I think that's full enough. Let me get this hose out of here and I'll be right back. All right, here's your little closer view of it. It says in the manual, do not exceed the ruling mark. Well, I don't know what the ruling mark is. Talking about the water level, but I'm assuming that's it right there. It's a little bend right there. Well, that's how high I filled it up. Should be okay. And I have read, and well, it says in the manual too, do not run it without water in it because it will damage it. So don't do that. It plugs in back here, and the power's back here. We'll go ahead and turn it on. This is Tipitar. That's minutes. We'll set that here in a minute. I did a little research because I've never used one of these, and the little basket that they send you, it ain't real big, and there's several small parts to this carburetor. So I just put them in one of the empty pine sol bottles. This is what I read online. If you don't want to dirty up all your solution here, we'll just put it in a bottle, put her on down in there just like that right there, and it'll clean it. It'll clean it through the plastic. I just wanted to show y'all how dirty this carburetor is. I'm leaving the gaskets on. I just want to see if it'll make them come off easier. So anyway, that's how dirty they are. Let's go ahead, put the pieces down in here. There's the booster right there. Here's the throttle body. It ain't real dirty, but it is a little dirty. The barrels there, they're pretty dirty. Put it down in there, and then put the base down in there. It's a little bit dirty. And I tell you what, well, let's put that in there too. I tell you what, I got an old Quadrajet right here that I tried to clean in some Chem Dip. I got it in one of them buckets, and it didn't do real good. If there's room, let's drop it down in there. Let me show y'all what it looks like first. It's clean, but not clean like I want it. So let's drop it down in there and just see if it makes it look brand new or not. May not have enough room. Oh, it fell apart. It fell apart. See, one thing I have done now, I put too much water in it for the amount of parts. I wasn't planning on putting this other carburetor in there. Let me dip some of that out. Yes, sir. And then I'll be right back. All right, I got all my parts in there. There's the 2-bubble BBD carb. We got our big old bottle full of small parts. 4-barrel Quadrajet. I threw the float in there too. It might not clean it. It won't clean it unless it's submerged. The parts have to be submerged in the water. This is how this works. Ultrasonic. Sonic means sound. And ultra means high, extremely, whatever. It operates at 40 kilohertz. And what it does is send sound waves through the water. They hit the parts that causes water, air bubbles. The air bubbles explode and knock the grease and dirt and whatever off the parts. That's how it works. So it has to be submerged before to work. So this won't get clean. Well, half of it will, because half of it's in the water. So we'll leave it in there and we'll see what it does. It may clean, may have a clean mark. Anyway, let me turn it on down here. This is temperature. I'm not sure how high it'll go. Let's just run it up, see how high it goes. 80 Celsius. I don't know what that is Fahrenheit, but that's what you set it at, and that's what it actually is. Then you time, well, you just run it up or down. Let's do it for 20 minutes. I'm not going to use heat right now. Let's just see how it does without heat. And if it doesn't clean real good, well, we'll do heat and see if that helps it out. Anyway, let me get the lid, get it put on, and I reckon we'll hit the start button. Now this will probably be making a really weird noise, especially the closer I get. Well, let me just show you. So yeah, that's just the way they do. Let me pull the lid. Let's see if we got any bubbles yet. I ain't seeing none yet. We'll check back in a few minutes. I'll show y'all if it's making any kind of bubbles. All right, it's been running about 7 minutes. I'm having to stay away from it so y'all can hear me talk over that buzzing. Anyway, it's been running about 7 minutes. Let's open the lid, see if we got any bubbles, see what's going on. Well, I didn't see any bubbles, but that water and pine salt, it's definitely dirtier and darker, so I do believe it's cleaning. It's got 12 and a half more minutes, and then we'll be done. Well, it's almost done. We got 20 seconds left. As soon as it gets done, we'll pull the parts out and see how clean they are. But here's also, by the way, whilst I was sitting here waiting on this thing to get done, 80 degrees Celsius is 176 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is a 30 liter, which is almost 9 gallons. Now you know. All right, let's see what we got. It's definitely dirtier in there, the water is. Let me get them pulled out. We'll look at them. All right, let me turn it off. I'm gonna unplug it too. Then we're gonna scoot her back just a little bit. All right, let's get the parts out. It didn't leave me a clean mark on that float like I thought it would. Here's the bottle of parts. That water is a little bit dirty, which those parts wasn't very dirty anyway. Quadrajet, what does it look like? About the same, to be honest with you. It didn't take off. It's like you know how aluminum does when it gets wet and it corrodes, and the only way to get it off is to scrape it. Well, it didn't take that off. No, sir. All right. Here is the tube bubble. That's the one I was mostly concerned with. We'll have to rinse them off real quick. Here's the base. It doesn't take aluminum corrosion off, in case you were wondering that. It does not take rust off either. There we go. All right. It cleaned it fairly well. Yeah. Let's see how easily that gasket comes off now. It's actually coming off pretty doggone easily. Yes, sir. So that's good. Let me get the rest of it off. Yeah, the gasket come right off. All right, do I have anything else in here? Yes, 2 little pieces. I left the gasket on this one too. These are usually a booger to get off. Let's see what it does. Oh, it fell right off. So if nothing else, it'll take a gasket off, that's for sure. Let me spray these off. I'll be right back. All right, I got everything rinsed off. And it cleaned it pretty good. You remember that bowl was a little dirty down in there. That's all gone now. The barrels, they're much cleaner. It won't take that black tarnish or whatever off, which I didn't expect it to. Here's the top of it right here. Looks pretty clean. The base, it does not take corrosion off aluminum, which I didn't expect it to do that either. It does not take rust off. I didn't expect it to do that. It's meant to take dirt, grease, and grime off, and it did that. Well, you can see the water. See how dirty it is now? It definitely did some cleaning. Quadrajet, like I said, I'd already cleaned it. I was hoping it might take that white corrosion off the aluminum. It did not, which, like I said, it's not meant to do that. Tell you what, I want to do some more experimenting with it because I'm fascinated with this kind of stuff. Let's put these sparking plugs in there, and I don't know, let me see if I can find something else. I'll be back and we'll put something else in there. All right, here are my sparking plugs. They're rusty. Like I said, it doesn't take rust off, but I would like to see if it'll clean this porcelain, ceramic, whatever it is, and see if it'll clean the ceramic on the inside too, take all that carbon buildup off. And I got a water pump from a Model A. It's pretty greasy. It's pretty thick actually down in there, and it may not take thick stuff off. I don't, like I said, I've never used one of these before, but I'm gonna put it in there just like it right there, and we'll put these sparking plugs down in there if I can hang on to them, just like it right there. And I think, let's try the heated setting this time, see what it does. Anyway, let me get this stuff moved out of the way and then I'll fire that up. All right, I got it set on 60 Celsius, which is 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it gets up to temperature, I'm gonna run it for 20 minutes and let's just see what it does. All right, we're coming up on the 10-minute mark. And as you can see, it's only at 32 degrees. I got it set at 60. And the instructions are not clear at all. But the best I can tell, the heater doesn't work unless the ultrasonic part is working. And as you can tell also, it heats up really, really slow. So if you want to use hot water, well, you probably should get hot water out of the tap, or maybe even boil you a little bit of hot water. But anyway, let's take the lid off, see how dirty it is. Well, it's pretty dirty. You can't even see the parts down in there. We'll give it, what, 9 minutes and 20 seconds more. We'll pull them out and see if they're clean or not. All right, we got 17 seconds left. As you can see, we're at 36 degrees. So the heater, it ain't all that great. Once it quits, we'll pull the parts out and see what they look like. All right, let's pull it out and look at it. Sparking plugs. They're still black. The porcelain down in there is still black, so I don't think it cleaned them real good. But it may need, 30 minutes. It may need to do it several times. I don't know. The water pump, it cleaned it. It still got a lot of stuff on it, but it did clean it quite a bit. Down in here is where it was the worst, and it was pretty thick. Let me get the camera over here and I'll show y'all. All right, here's the spark plugs, and they are clean, but the porcelain is not white. So if you're going for that, then it's not going to happen. Well, it might if you, do it a bunch of times. But the water pump, it was pretty nasty. And it still has grease on it, but it cleaned it quite a bit. Tell you what, let's put it back in. Well, let's put all of it back in there. Run it for 30 minutes on heat. Let's just see what it does. Let's run her up to 30 minutes. We're coming up on the halfway mark of 30 minutes. And as you can see, we're at 42 degrees Celsius. The heater, it's lacking a little bit. We'll give it another 15 minutes and we'll pull that water pump out and see if it took any more of the grease off. We are done with that 30-minute run. It come up to 48 degrees Celsius. Like I said, that heater, it needs a little bit. Anyway, let's pull the part out and see what it looks like. Here are the sparking plugs, and this porcelain here, it cleaned it pretty good. But the porcelain on the inside, it's still pretty black. So it cleaned them, it just didn't turn that porcelain white. The water pump, this side looks great. Well, see, it's got real thick grease on it. I don't expect it to clean something like that. And same thing in here. It was pretty thick, but it did clean quite a bit of stuff off of it. I've already sprayed it off with the hose, see if it knocks more off, and it didn't. My advice would be, if it's really heavy, knock it off with a screwdriver, brush, whatever. But yeah, it cleaned it pretty good. Well, there's a shot of the water. It's pretty nasty. It did some cleaning, yes sir. Let me tell you all this. Y'all know I try to be 100% honest all the time. This was sent to me to review, and I'm going to give you an honest opinion on it. It ran for 50 minutes on, with the heat, and it only came up to 48 degrees. The heater, it's lacking. Far as cleaning, well, you saw the water pump out there. It was pretty nasty, and it cleaned it. My advice would be to scrape the thick grease and gunk off. It'd probably clean a whole lot better. Carburetor, it cleaned it, which it wasn't all that dirty, but it did clean it. Time-wise, as far as how long it takes, I have nothing to base that on because this is the first time I've ever used one. You saw how quickly it cleaned the water pump. Well, the first 20 minutes of the water pump, I don't think it cleaned it anymore that second go around. So 20 minutes to clean that water pump, all you do is drop it in there and it cleans. That's not bad. I'm impatient. I was hoping it'd clean it quicker, but that's just me. That's not on this machine. Far as what you put in there to clean it, you'll have to experiment with that. I had about a gallon of pine sol in there, and this is almost 9-gallon tank. Maybe you need to go 100% pine sol. Like I said, I've read that gasoline works well. I didn't use it because I didn't want to stink up the house. I'm gonna leave it up to y'all to decide if this is something you want or not. Link will be in the description with a coupon code. I think it's 5% off. Check it out.